What's going on, guys? Jada Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about Maya, singer Maya. I listen, I've always had an affinity for Maya. I actually made a video about her years ago. I may even link that video in the description box. And I talked about how, why, she's not in a relationship, why no man wants to wife her up. Right. And it looks like I've been validated because she made some recent comments. She was a guest on a podcast that is hosted by Melissa Ford, and she made some comments. Now, I'm not going to show the visual, but I'm going to play the audio. And she talks about how marriage and kids have never been a priority for her. And she chose peace, work, and growth instead. Now, she isn't closing the door on it, even at 45, because for some reason, a lot of Western women believe that they can be in their 50s trying to start a family. But let me play this audio.
Many men's desire, and you probably have the pick of the litter, which is another thing that they assume. Wow. Yeah, girl, I know.
It's not even my focus, and it never has been. My mother's an independent thinker. I've witnessed a divorce, between my parents. I've witnessed all kinds of things. My father is a very attractive man. I've witnessed a lot of things. And it's also not been a safe place in my mind as a little girl. So I've always thought a little different. The white wedding dress, I was very fearful of those things. So I looked elsewhere and probably escaped too much in my work and keep going. But also, I think being independent has forced me to show up for myself and obviously family, friends, and this operation because I have a mission and I have a vision, but it requires me to be gone. And so that's also very much fear-filled, knowing that if I have to be gone 95% of the time and my work calls for me to travel, that must be intimidating. And I also can't show up properly for my significant other. But I'm also now spiritually aligned so much where I know that I'm surrounded by love everywhere I go, right? I'm not seeking, and I know that it will be granted to me in divine time. And I'm not worried about it because my life is full of love and it comes in so many different forms, not just one person. So I've had to recalibrate my brain and not, I think, govern my life off of this fantasy or illusion that we've all been indoctrinated by or taught by. But when you have a vision as well, and you're fighting for empowerment, and especially for your women coming up, if you plan to be a label and sign young girls, et cetera, and be their protector, it requires you to show up differently and also think differently. So
this is a long clip. So basically, what she's saying is she's prioritizing women over family and children. Listen, I want y'all to understand something. Like, this is her mindset, and maybe this is something that's helped her over the years. But I want people to understand that a lot of these women of today, a lot of these women like her, they think they're going to be attractive forever. They think they're always going to have an opportunity to start a family because, again, we're going to get into a little bit later. But she ultimately still wants to have a family and have children. She wants that. She's not closing the door on that. No woman closes the door on that because all it takes is one man to come into these women's lives. And I've seen it. All it takes is one man to come into their life and it changes everything. She just hasn't met that guy yet. And I believe that because we've seen these women say crazy things, do crazy things, but all it takes is one man to come into their life. And it changes their whole perspective on life and all that. I'm telling you right now.
It hasn't been a focal point for me. And this is what it looks like. I'm very happy with myself, but that also required me to strip a lot of alcohol for a whole year, all of these things.
No, they're wondering how
anything else.
They're wondering how a woman as stunning as you are, that is the object of so many men's desire, and you probably have the pick of the litter, which is another thing that they assume.
So let's get into this. I want people to understand something. When you look at a woman, again, who's 45 years old, a woman who has been in the industry for over almost 30, almost, you could probably say close to over 25 years or so or longer. She's been in the industry for a long time, and I think that because she's probably seen so many things now, when she just told Melissa that the reason why she's not prioritizing marriage and family is because of what she saw growing up, which can be it could be traumatizing. If you see your parents divorce and things get very dysfunctional, you don't want to follow that. You don't want those things to happen. But I don't think it's just her family. I just think that she's not really telling the full story. I just think that she's talked about being single for years and celibate. We know that people only go celibate when they've had a little bit too much relations, right? Been in relationships they probably shouldn't have been in, or been dealing with people they probably shouldn't have dealt with. And I think that's the case with Maya. I think Maya's probably dealt with men she probably regrets, which is why she chose to marry herself years ago. And now she's saying that she's celibate. You know what's funny? A lot of women will say that they are celibate. A lot of women will say, a lot of women will say that they're single, they're not dating, right? But they never admit to being celibate. You know why? It's because they're single and they're screwing. But I will give Maya credit, at least she's not out, according to her, screwing. She's celibate. At least, because, women don't want to lie. So they're going to omit certain things, right? They're going to omit certain things, but she's putting it all out there. I just feel like she just hasn't met the right dude. I really do. I just think that she's at a point in her life where she just hasn't met the guy that she wants yet. Or let me just say this too. I think this needs to be said. A lot of attractive women out here end up being side chicks. I'm not saying that about Maya, but they're either side chicks or they play for the other team or the same team. Right? But I'm not saying that's Maya, but I've seen that. Look at what's her name? Cheyenne Bryant. There's, she's allegedly out here dating women. And also, there's a female dating coach who I'm probably going to end up talking about sometime soon on my live stream channel, who was exposed as a side chick. And she's an attractive woman and she's a dating coach for men, right? So you do have those avenues where you have a lot of these attractive women who are long-term side chicks. And they just get to the point to where they don't want marriage or any type of relationship because they see what goes on and they see what these men be doing by having a family and a woman on the side, and they're turned off by it. And again, I'm not saying it's Maya, but from what I have seen, a lot of attractive women out here, if they're single, a lot of times they're dealing with somebody and that somebody is unavailable. And instead of them walking away, they lean into it. And it causes them to push away other men who could be good for them. But they just so obsessed with that one man, they can't let him go. They would rather marry themselves than marry somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we have here. Let me get into this real quick. Maya reflects on symbolically marrying herself being celibate. It wasn't a choice. Maya has been symbolically married to herself and celibate for years. In a conversation with Judy Love, Maya shared about why she chose to remain single for years. It wasn't even a choice. It was just what it was. And then you look up, oh, time has passed, Maya said at around the 31-minute mark of the video. I was fully committed to self, and that meant in business and projects, engulfing myself into my love and then my gifts that maybe I'd abandoned during that relationship, changing my diet and then starting to invest in just joy around me and getting rid of the bad energy, the bad vices that could become addictions or any form of escapism. She's probably talking about relations. When people have relations, it can be used as a form of escapism and addictive, especially when you have a lot of options. So it was literally self-analyzation. She explained making a chart actually before the new year, looking at different areas and phases in my life, what I was doing, who I was involved, and then what accolades were coming during those times. I'm like, okay, I see progressing, and then I can see where something was going on because I allowed something in that shouldn't have been in there. So accountability once again, and then correcting your wrongs. Last year, the fallen singer commented on being celibate for 7 years, telling Angela Yee that she did so for mental clarity. She also shared that the decision shifted her mindset and that the rush to be married and to have kids was no longer the focus. A few years ago, her celibacy journey began. Maya married herself in 2013 as a way to take ownership over her life. During the conversation with Nicole, XO Nicole, in 2021, Maya looked back on shooting the music video The Truth, where she married herself and the internet went crazy. At the time, she revealed that she actually did marry herself in real life at the end of 2023. You know what's funny? There was news stories coming out about women. I did a video about a woman marrying herself, right? And then what happened is soon after she married herself, she divorced herself and got into a relationship. There was a story about a woman marrying a train, a train station. These are the type of stories that were coming out between 2013 and like 2017. These are the type of stories that you saw coming out with women. The only reason why you would be celibate is if you were out here, you were out here having a little bit too much relations, right? And then you get to a point to where you want to change things because you're just giving too much of yourself away. This is what I'm interpreting. I'm not saying that was, but this is what I'm interpreting. She feels like she's been giving way too much she gave way too much of herself away, and she wanted to reclaim her power. At least that's what it looks like. You know what's interesting? She's probably the only female celebrity that has this mindset of actually trying to work on herself and fix herself, because a lot of these other female celebrities, they talk it, but they don't walk it. They're always hopping into a new relationship. They don't know how to, focus on themselves. They're too busy chasing men, right? Chasing attention. So I'll give her credit on that. But I don't believe for 1 second that she just doesn't want marriage. I just think that she's one of these women that have high expectations. She wants Mr. Perfect, and Mr. Perfect don't exist. Like a lot of these women are today. They want the perfect man. The perfect man don't exist. I just don't believe women when they say they don't want a family. They don't want a husband. What the problem is with Maya is that she just hasn't met the man that she wants yet. Because nowadays, women's expectations have just been so delusional that she's probably come across a good man, and she says it's because of her career. Careers haven't stopped any woman from having, a music career or whatever career. Having a man in their life has never altered that. A lot of most of these women in the entertainment industry got to have a man. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's never one or the other with them, right? But at least she's working on herself. I can give her credit on that. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Follow me, comment down below, like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram. Check out all the relevant links in the description box, and I'll see y'all next one.